Well, hello again, everyone. I hope you guys are all staying positive and doing cool things and being productive and being focused and having a fairly alright time out there. And I've been trying to get myself focused on certain things. And it's been a little tough, and I've got some constructive stuff. It's just been a little bit of a rocky road as of late. But for February, we've gotten already out I did the review for The Invisible Man, which was a film where Universal had a copyright on it. They're the ones who released it, stuff like that. But nothing's happened with the video. There's been no hitches, but copyright claims, anything like that. Nothing has hit it. So far, we're all on green lights from after all the stuff that happened back with the Bourne Identity review. Smooth sailing as of this point in time. And we got the commentary out for Valentine on the Valentine's Day weekend. And it's been a little quiet since then. Not like it's been like an extraordinary long time, but for me it feels that way because I haven't had anything progressing towards completion. Because Steve is out of town. He's out of state, actually. He's been out of state on some work trip for about 2.5 weeks. So we didn't have anything else recorded for commentaries. Trent and I were supposed to record a new commentary, but certain circumstances got in the way of all the bad weather we've had over here in the Midwest and stuff like that. We just had to cancel it, and we haven't gotten a new date solidified for it. So I'm a little bit of this kind of limbo in a certain way where I've been trying to get some other stuff going that hasn't been going anywhere. But as you might have seen on social media posts, I have shot the retro video series episode on Highlander 2. The raw footage on this thing is like 80 minutes long. Now I'm just barely started editing this thing, relatively speaking. And it's just going to take a lot longer to do so than I intended to. So I am going to try to get some stuff that's in these media pickups into a review. I'm going to try and get a review out first, go back to editing that, and hopefully by that time we'll have another commentary or two put in the bag so I can release that, so I can still have a flow of stuff coming out on the channel while I'm trying to get this thing done in the background of everything else. So hopefully they'll get back up on track and move forward and get to a place where I just feel comfortable. Like, I usually like to have at least something out about once per week, thereabout. A week and a half at the most. So that's why you want to get this update out here, keep things going, move things forward, and flow through. So there's that. Commentary is definitely the thing with Trent and I, which has been a long-standing thing, is getting that commentary for the 1990 Ninja Turtles film done. We've had that on the books for a long time. Everything else in the world has just gotten in the way of making that happen. So there's that. And Steve and I, we do have one commentary planned out for the next session in terms of Savage Streets, and that's going to be a fantastic thing because they just re-released the Blu-ray. Same one I got back in 2018. They just put it out much more regular thing. It was I think it's Code Red released through Kino Lorber. You can get that on Amazon and stuff like that. This one I had before was a bit more of a limited run type of thing, so I got that for a bit more of a premium price. But you guys can hunt that down and check that out and grab that disc up if you're interested. And so that's definitely on our books. We're going to be doing that. And we've got to figure out a few other things because I mentioned at the end of the Invisible Man video, if you haven't watched that, I'll reiterate here that we did start doing commentaries for the Saw franchise back in October. And we just want to get a feel for things for everyone out there. If you guys haven't caught those yet, I'd like to see if you guys want to go back and check them out. Because I do know that not for the U.S. yet, but I'm sure it's eventually coming, that they are re-releasing the first Saw film in 4K. They're doing a UHD Blu-ray disc of that. There was at least an announcement of it for another territory on the Steelbook version. I'm sure eventually Lionsgate will announce it here in the States eventually, but so that'll eventually be coming out so that it can be something you guys pick up. You want to listen to our commentary, whatever the case is. But let us know, guys, if you want to go back and check those out. We did the first 3 films. Let us know if you want us to keep going forward on that, because I still have to watch the other films. I haven't watched anything beyond 3 at this point, but I have read up a little bit on where the franchise goes in some places beyond that point. But so we'd like to get your feedback on that, get your input. If you want us to keep going with those, we're happy to oblige. So we just want to figure out where things will land in our recording schedules coming up, because we got a lot of little anniversary dates coming up. I don't want to say exactly what they are, but there's some things that we want to hit on certain dates. They're a bit more of a kind of a rounded off sort of like 40th anniversary, 45th, 35th, something like that, somewhere around those ranges where we have specific sort of dates we want to hit. So we want to see where we can build things out around that. So let us know about that, and we'll move forward. So that's all good stuff, and there's a bunch of little things in here to talk about, and there's some other stuff that will be showing up eventually. But let's get into what I've picked up lately. And there's a couple of 4K discs in here, which I'll just kind of talk about a little bit in a certain way, because I don't yet have a 4K setup. But in some places, I'm starting to think maybe I should future-proof some of my purchases. If I'm looking to upgrade something that I had on DVD, maybe I should just get the 4K combo pack. So once I get up to that point in time, I do have the newly remastered version on the UHD disc, stuff like that. Or sometimes, like with this one, they do have the remastered version on the 1080p one, so it just was the only way I could get that remastered version. And I had this was several weeks ago, I had kind of a tough week. I don't know if it was just I think it might have been like I was working 6 days in a row, something like that. At the end of it, I just said, the hell with it. I'm going to buy this. I don't care. I just feel like this is going to make me feel better. I got the 4K version of The Empire Strikes Back. Now, of course, this is the tinkered with LucasArts version or whatnot, but it is absolutely one of my favorite films of all time. I would definitely put it out there at the absolute extreme, the top 5, and that sounds, I don't always put this at number 2. Lately I've been bouncing between this and Heat as my favorite film of all time, all that type of stuff. So it's like, when you have that favorite film and all you keep watching is like the nice laser disc or stuff like that, you want to see it in the best quality possible. Even if it has some points in it, it's like, I don't really like how they changed this. I don't really like how they changed that. They're not major things. There's like a couple of voiceover, the Boba Fett change of his voice to sync up with Lucas's fucked up continuity for the prequels. I didn't really care for what Tamara Morrison did with the Fett voice in that, because it just felt like he did very much without any kind of motivation on what to do with the lines. He just kind of recited them and just recorded them and just moved on. So I had that's always bothered me, and just those little minor things here and there that kind of bug me here and there. But for the most part, of all the films that Lucas went ahead and started tinkering and futzing around with, this one has maybe about 5% of the film that has anything to really comment on in that regard. So I wanted to get this just to sit down, watch it in the best quality possible, and just enjoy it as much as possible. And just like it just feels good to watch a film of this quality in that kind of visual audio quality. So it made me feel good. It made me feel good to watch it, seeing that thing. But I'm still going to be hunting down all these other releases for the retro video series stuff I talked about in a previous update. Nothing, no progress on getting the Japanese releases. I just haven't found any listings that I'm very excited about in terms of price. So, regardless of that, this is here, and I'm not really jumping to get the other 2 films in the trilogy on this format, stuff like that. I just wanted to get it because it was Empire. I dearly love that film. I just wanted it was just crawling around in my brain so much. I just wanted to grab that. But another thing I was grabbing up in that type of format was the fact that I was throwing around titles that could jump up on a review, and I was like, okay, I only have Cliffhanger on DVD. Let me throw it out there. And apparently the regular Blu-ray here in the U.S. is like very, very hard to find. I don't think it's in print anymore. They're selling for like $20. There's not like a proper Amazon Prime listing for the disc. It's like marketplace sellers, and they're selling it for like $20 plus shipping. So it seems like it's kind of a little bit out of print or whatnot. So I did have to track down the 4K disc of it. Sony apparently is not remastering the 1080p disc. They're the same old catalog releases from years ago. So you only get the 4K version on the actual disc. When I redeemed the digital copy on this was actually a used purchase, but luckily I found it a good place for like $12.99, pretty good price. But I redeemed the digital code, and like some of the Movies Anywhere link systems, some of them have the new master, some of them have the old master. I think it was, iTunes had it and Amazon Prime had it, but like Vudu had the old HD master and a like Fandango now or something like that. It had the old HD master or something like that. It was a little wonky. It was a little wonky trying to figure that out, but there's a lot of weird things. I was like debating back and forth. Do I also want to get the Studio Canal one? Because they did remaster the 1080p disc for Studio Canal, but it's a Region B release and stuff like that. But I could probably still rip it off the disc on the computer, random shit. But they took the same raw 4K scan, but they color graded and mastered it in a very different way. You can go on Capsaholic and find just like they did. I almost prefer like if there was some kind of version that was kind of like right in between the two of them, because there's certain stills I like of one and certain stills I like better of the other one. It's like I can't really determine it. This is almost the type of thing where you have to see both masters just in motion to see how it feels. Because I was watching a little bit of the opening of Cliffhanger there, and it's like, seems like you're kind of pushing out the brightness and the contrast a little much here and there. It's kind of blowing things out maybe just a tad. It seems a little too much. Any which way you cut it. But Cliffhanger is definitely on the list. I was starting to research things. There's a lot of little nuances that I really need to get more into, need more time to compartmentalize in my head and everything like that. Because there's also that work print out there about the whole film, so I got to do some research on that. It's a little more odds and ends I have to kind of sweep together into a little pile there to figure out exactly what I'm going to be talking about on that film. But this one just showed up today, another Sony release. They didn't remaster the old disc, but the old disc has a really nice transfer from everything I've read. That was the Mask of Zorro. And I was thinking about this because, again, another one I just had on DVD. The old special edition version with the 2 discs and bonus features, stuff like that. But I was kind of disappointed because they had this really nice new artwork. I was so looking forward to having it. And apparently it's just on the slipcover. And apparently, obviously, no slipcover on this one I got from Amazon. So if you're looking to maybe find some place that still has that, Amazon apparently does not have that first press run any longer. So you have to keep looking somewhere else. But Mask of Zorro, I saw this in the theater in '98. It was a fantastic, just kind of a breath of fresh air type of thing. It's such a, again, Martin Campbell from GoldenEye, Casino Royale, stuff like that. Wonderful director in that regard in terms of action films and just taking an old property and just making it fresh and vital and stuff like that. Phenomenal film. I really think I should get up on this. This might be the very next review I do. So it just depends on where things land in the next couple days, where I can get started on that. But I think there's a really good one to get going on. There's a lot less kind of odds and ends than Cliffhanger. It's a little bit more tidy to get into the features and stuff like that on this. And apparently on the UHD disc on this one, they do have new deleted scenes. Since I don't have a 4K player yet, which I'm still kind of throwing around in my mind. It would be nice if I did this mulling around back like Black Friday time, Christmas time, when I had kind of big deals going on, but stirring around my head about certain things. So just little things at a time. But those are only, the new deleted scenes are only on the 4K disc. But still, it's a fantastic film. Fantastic. Wonderful stuff. Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Anthony Hopkins. Wonderful class. But another film that's going to be coming up in the Retro Video series, once I find the Laserdisc version of it as well, is Ransom with Mel Gibson, directed by Ron Howard, stuff like that. Because the Laserdisc has a extended version of the film on. It's like almost, I think it's like 19 extra minutes of footage in the whole thing that's never been released on any other format. Now the damn thing is, I did come across the Laserdisc several months ago when I was hunting something else down, and it didn't click my head to buy the thing when I saw it, because I was on another wavelength somewhere. But I can find, there's plenty of listings online on eBay. I just got to find the right seller and buy it and have it come here. And actually, I've never watched the film before. I've never seen Ransom. I know about like a certain plot twist in the film, but I've never actually sat down and watched the thing. So it'll be kind of a new experience because it's so much different from doing a proper review. I don't really have to like formulate, take notes on every little thing in the whole film. I just have to kind of absorb the film and compare the different versions and give you a rundown of things and kind of give you at least an opinion of if the extended version is worth something. So that was a very interesting thing to just highlight and kind of preserve in a certain way to let people know, if you are a fan of the film, there is an extended version that's never been released, and even the few deleted scenes on this thing do not add up to the amount of footage that's in that extended cut on Laserdisc. So this is about $10 on Amazon. Arrived a couple days ago, and really nice to get this. I figured I'd just pull the trigger on instead of sitting around waiting to figure out when I was going to get the Laserdisc. Let me just pull the trigger on it, go grab it, and come up with it. Another film that did get a UHD, but this was last week. I was kind of batting around. Do I want to get it? Do I want to put up that money, or do I just want to get the Mummy here and all that type of stuff? And I figured I'll just go for the regular disc this time. This is before I kind of made this more of an idea towards Cliffhanger and Mask of Zorro stuff. So who knows? But it's only $10, and it comes with a digital copy, stuff like that. And I could get into Mummy. I haven't watched it in a long time, but so much of it is so very vibrant in my head about what the film was, and the more I think about it, the more stuff comes back to mind. So it's like it was something that I think deserves a little reappraisal, kind of a refresh into people's minds and stuff like that. It's going kind of cluttered in a certain way, in terms like you had the Tom Cruise reboot called The Mummy, and you had Brendan Fraser's career is kind of evaporated into nothingness or something like that. So. And Stephen Summers, I don't know what Stephen Summers has done in the last, God knows, since like G.I. Joe. I don't know what the hell he's done since then. So it's like there's a lot of different elements in this whole film that's like, it'd be nice to kind of catch up and kind of feature this stuff again. I know the HD transfer on this thing, it's not horrible, but certainly in terms of today's standards, it definitely needed a refresh, but Universal did not remaster the 1080p disc on the UHD release, so I kind of batted around a little bit here and there, and I decided I'll just grab this one for $10. If I ever want to just upgrade, it's probably going to be, by the time I get around to like thinking, yeah, I'll upgrade, it'll probably be on sale somewhere, or wherever the case is. It'll be a lot cheaper later on down the road to kind of swap out and stuff like that. And there's something else I have to grab behind me once I get these done. But a blind buy I got, as I'd seen a little bit of reviews here and there, a little other people featuring this film with Dolph Lundgren, Dark Angel, I Come in Peace, and I decided to grab it. I thought maybe I could tap it for review at some point in time, and I definitely want to give it, kind of let it simmer on the shelf a little bit more, because I did watch it. I wanted to let it sit, go back to it again, see how I feel about it on a second viewing, stuff like that. I was like, I don't know. Again, I might not have been as into it, stuff like that. I just felt like there was some things in the whole thing that like didn't quite work as well. I felt like Dolph isn't great in the whole film. He's still trying to find his legs as an actor, I feel. He's not as sharp. He's not as charismatic. He's not as genuine with his line delivery, stuff like that. But I felt like with a much more charismatic, comfortable lead in the whole thing, I think it would have snapped a lot more into me. There's a few other elements of plot and structure, stuff like that I could get into, but again, I didn't want to just do a review off of the first viewing, let it sit, go back to it at a later point in time, get another feeling and whatnot. So we'll put it on the list. We'll put it on a little bit of a tentative list and stuff like that. But as I grabbed up AVP Requiem several months ago to upgrade that DVD, and I decided I'll just pull the trigger on the first AVP on Blu-ray, because you never know with these Fox titles in terms of what Disney's doing with things, whatnot. If you sit on it too long, maybe they're not going to re-release it, stuff like that. They're not going to keep it on the market. I felt like for little I paid for this, it was a decent enough thing to grab. I don't really have any plans about it. I bought the DVD version of this about a year ago. Didn't get around to watching it, but apparently there's features on the DVD set that were not poured over to the Blu-ray. So this one does have the theatrical and the unrated version, but I guess there's a couple things they did not transfer over from one format to the other, so I'll be keeping that copy of it as well, just to keep it on file for any future needs. So since Steve and I will start at least a couple of the Alien commentaries, that we're at least going to do the first two films this year, and we'll see where things land, if there's any other thing we get into. If maybe Trent and I do some Predator stuff, who knows what's going to happen. any which way it flows. But there's something else back here I forgot about. I don't know how I did, but I have to grab it now because it's a phenomenal goddamn thing. I got the Batman Animated Series Blu-ray set because I got myself an HBO Max account because this was kind of ancillary to it, but Warner Bros. Had just done an HD remaster on Babylon 5. Now, if you're not aware of this, go up, get a $14.99 per month HBO Max subscription and check out Babylon 5 because they went back, did a fantastic job of this because they went back to the original edited film negatives, original camera negatives. They're all edited because unlike like Star Trek Next Generation, a couple other syndicated sci-fi series at the time, they actually edited everything on film. They did everything kind of proper. They did everything on film, then they rendered the effects in kind of a high resolution, stuff like that, and then put it onto the broadcast master tapes instead of doing all the post-production on videotape back in the day. They did it more properly. So Warner Bros. Was able to go back to the vault, grab those film negatives, everything was live action without any effect shots. They're able to rescan it at 4K, do proper color grading, stuff like that, and they just did a really, really nice job to upscale the visual effect shots in the series. They're like, this is as good as they could possibly do from an upscale of those effects. Did a really nice job of it. And it's like, I've watched a couple episodes and it looks really goddamn nice. Blows the shit out of these old DVDs that are botched to living hell. Because they took it from an NTSC to PAL, and they took a PAL master and put it back to NTSC. And because the show was originally shot with a future widescreen format intended for it, they had a full 16:9 frame on there, shot on Super 35, but they didn't render the effect shots in the widescreen. So on the DVDs, you got all the live action stuff in proper opened up widescreen, but all the effect shots get zoomed up or stretched out. They look goddamn fucking awful. These new masters look wonderful. I absolutely loved it. It just looks beautiful. And if you need to check it out, absolutely check it out because that is one of the best sci-fi series ever made. Way ahead of its time. From the 90s, it just did so many things. They're just commonplace in like sci-fi serialized series now. Wonderful stuff. But along with that, I started watching the HD versions of the Batman the Animated Series episodes. Is like, God, this looks wonderful. And just like, it looked even better than I remembered. I have the old DVD sets. Haven't watched them in a long time, but I just like, I gotta check this out in HD. I was watching like Heart of Ice and the Two-Face two-parter. I watched the Demon Quest, I think it was, with Ra's al Ghul. A couple other really good episodes here, and there's like, this looks wonderful. I gotta get this. I wish I bought it the weekend after I first got the subscription, but I was like, I still got this thing for another month. Do I really need to put on the money for it? Because Amazon had a coupon for like $9 off or something like that on their website. And I was like, this would have been a really nice price to get it at, but I got it for about $60. I price matched it and stuff like that. From Amazon to Best Buy, I price matched it, stuff like that, but I can still sell off the DVDs. This one actually comes with Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. On Blu-ray, those remasters that were put out some time ago through Warner Archive. So I can sell those off as well. So gonna make back a little bit of it, but it's absolutely goddamn worth the money. It looks phenomenal. Looks absolutely phenomenal. It just, everything they did looks great. Looks absolutely great. I even watched the first episode on Leather Wings with the Man Bat. Great stuff. Awesome. Just awesome, man. It was like so much, like I almost kind of wanted to figure out some way to do a video on the entire series. I know that just triggered off a bunch of you guys for me to suggest me doing that, encourage me to do that. I don't know what I'd do because there's a lot of episodes. It'd be really hard. Again, people have asked me about doing that stuff, like with either Babylon 5 or the Highlander TV series, stuff like that. It's a lot of time, guys, to sit down and watch an entire series of episodes. Especially for like an hour-long series that had like 20-plus episodes per season, where it has 4, 5, 6 seasons or whatnot. Talking about like almost like 160, 170 episodes. Like, that's hours. That takes weeks to run through that much stuff and take notes on everything. Then I have to rip all the discs for all the stuff and figure out how to construct the entire idea to run through this whole thing in like a video or two. It's very difficult. Talking about the whole Highlander 2 video, again, it's like 80 minutes long as the goddamn raw footage. I've got to plow through that. I'm already feeling that's going to take me a week and a half to figure that out. So that's a lot of stuff. And so, but this is absolutely worth the price. Thoroughly worth the price to get this. It's just really, really nice and stuff like that. So I know they had a much more deluxe type of set with a lot of other additional accoutrements, stuff like that, but thoroughly pleased to have this. And I got Batman Beyond on DVD. I know there was a couple of episodes on the Blu-ray set where they had to upscale it because they didn't have the original source negative and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't need to rush out and grab that. This thing's gonna be more than enough for a long time for me. But I absolutely love it, absolutely love it. So guys, that's all I have for you at this point in time. Like I said, we'll be working on trying to schedule all these commentaries as soon as possible. Just waiting to hear back from Trent, sure where things can land for Ninja Turtles. We just really need to get that in the bag. Then once Steve is back from his trip, we'll sort things out for Savage Streets and a few other things coming up soon. We got a whole bunch of stuff. We got a little bit of little things here and there. We can eventually get back to like Expendables 2. We're gonna get some other stuff. I don't know what the hell else is on the list right at this moment. I gotta grab my phone and find my list here if we can figure out what's coming up. But yeah, just we might be doing some other James Cameron stuff beyond just Aliens. So we might be doing that, and yeah. I have another disc coming up next week. It was going to be a much later delivery date from Amazon, but I was like, I don't need this thing for like a couple months. I don't need it right now. We got to round out the Jamie Lee Curtis slasher film filmography. We're going to be doing Prom Night in May, so they had it for $12.99. I think that went down a tad bit from the last time I saw it, so I was like, I'll grab it, throw it on there, stuff like that, and we'll get caught up in due time, stuff like that. But we got some other franchise fare and some other odds and ends we got coming up here. Don't want to say too much, but until we get things more scheduled out, I don't want to say exactly what we're planning to get up on, but we've got a lot of options, and we'll get back to you guys when we have things a little bit more locked down where we're going to go forward on that stuff. So guys, I think that's all there is at this point in time. I think that's all there is. I did mention last time that I got a soundtrack for Christmas, but I forgot to mention what it was. It was the Jerry Goldsmith score for Alien. I got the one from Entrada, and I haven't even had time. I've had the damn thing for 2 months now. I haven't had time to sit down and listen to the darn thing. It's been so much of a jammed up schedule of certain things. Like, I've been trying to get things to work around schedules, stuff like that, and just haven't had time to just sit down and enjoy a lot of different things. But just trying to sort it all out, guys. Slow it down a little bit and trying to figure things out and get forward. And hopefully you guys are enjoying what we have going for you out on the channel. So guys, thanks so much. And keep watching and keep enjoying and keep interacting and sharing links around. All that stuff extremely helps us around the channel to keep things going. And there's always Patreon if you want to give us a little something extra every month to keep things going and just to enjoy a little early access. We definitely appreciate it. So guys, thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.